Hi everyone, Brian Richardson here from LP Gas Magazine. In this video, I'm joined by Daniel Dixon. He's the Group Director of Business Development at AmeriGas Propane. In August, he was named Chairman of the Propane Education and Research Council. In the video, I asked Daniel about his new role with PERC. You mentioned, I think, on the call, the conference call, when you took the chairmanship, that you've been with PERC for 5 years. Is that right?
Just started my 6th year.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll roll off, in July, but have really enjoyed my time and really had some great chairmen to work with.
Mm-hmm. Maybe just going back a little bit from the start, what motivated you to get involved with PERC?
Basically, I just enjoy the industry. I started in the industry in '97, and really from the very beginning was always told, hey, the more you get involved, the more you learn, the more people you'll meet, the more you'll be able to give back to the industry in time. And I've really believed that. I was fortunate enough to be president of the Alabama Propane Association, have served on the board of directors of NPGA and on their executive committee, and now with PERC, and just have really enjoyed my time getting involved in the industry because we've got a lot of great people and a lot of great companies.
Can you summarize, what you look to do then as chairman of PERC, stepping into that big role for the council? What does the rest of this year look like in 2021 from your perspective?
Really implementing our strategic plan. We built the plan around 4 major priorities: developing world-class safety and training, increasing propane's voice in the national energy conversation, growing the auto gas market, and then engaging in commercialization efforts to create more market growth opportunities. That was kind of the focus of it, and really believe that we can, instead of trying to put money out in so many different areas, to try to focus maybe in fewer areas, these 4 priorities, spend more money on fewer projects and have more success. And we feel like that we've got a lot of metrics available now that we can analyze those things and figure out, how strong of an investment some of these projects can be.
You mentioned the strategic plan. Can you talk a little bit about that as far as what that is, with PERC? And also you played a role in developing that plan. Is that right?
Yes, I chaired that task force. And it was something that we completed the summer of 19. Really wanted to get a lot of people involved. I like to get a lot of different voices and different thoughts into conversations. We've got a great counselor group, so we brought in several counselors. We also brought some folks in that were not involved with PERC because we wanted to really have a lot of different companies, really covering every market segment, every geography in the country. And we built an aspiration statement that says increasing uses and users. And then we built a plan around that statement to try to really to build priorities around every company, like I said, every market segment, every geography in the country, because, while we have 3,500 some odd companies, some are focused all residential, some commercial, some ag, and we really wanted to take care of that. PERC is an industry because folks make, they're assessed and that money goes to PERC. And to me, it's PERC staff and PERC counselors' job to use the industry's money wisely.
What, as far as looking at projects, what are the type of projects do you really think PERC should focus on? Does it fall under those categories that you just mentioned, or are there some other areas where, when you talk about spending more money in fewer areas, what do those projects look like?
They're going to focus on those 4 priorities. I mean, Brian, you're spot on with that question. That's what we'd like to do. Now, will there be some things that come up that are not in those 4 priorities? Yes. Can some things change in the next year where one of the priorities maybe is more important than others? And the answer is yes to that. We want this strategic plan not to be something that was a 3-year plan that we complete and we stick in a file folder and don't touch it for 3 years. We consider it a living, breathing document. And we're constantly looking at it, going to tweak it as needed. And, some things like environmental messaging is even more important a year later than when we discussed it last summer.
Maybe switching a little bit to, away from PERC into AmeriGas, and you serve as the group director of business development for the company. Can you just tell us a little bit about, what you do with AmeriGas Propane?
Well, I've been with AmeriGas now going on 8 years. Really enjoyed my time there. Group Director of Business Development means I head up our acquisitions group. And so while we're always looking to grow organically, we also grow through acquisition. And so I've got a really strong team, and AmeriGas has been very good to work with.
It's also hard to talk to anyone in the industry today really without bringing up COVID-19, unfortunately, but, what kind of impact do you foresee that having with the PERC Council and as far as your activities are concerned? And maybe can you even touch on, the impacts to AmeriGas?
There have been a lot of impacts, no doubt. I mean, it'd be nice if you and I were having this meeting face to face, but we're not. And so there's been a lot of video conferencing, a lot of phone calls and things like that. From a PERC standpoint, the PERC team relishes getting in front of folks. You see Tucker and Bridget and Cinch and many others that love to get face to face with companies, love to talk with them about what PERC can do to help their business. And it helps them create more industry engagement. So that's been difficult, but I feel like Tucker and the team have done a great job, given the circumstances, to do everything they can to, during this unprecedented time. AmeriGas much the same way. I joked at the last council meeting that I should have bought stock in Zoom. We're using Zoom, and we're having more Zoom calls each week than I could imagine. But it's good to at least, see people face to face, I guess, as much as we can.
Right.
But it's, we've got a good company, and we've got a good group of employees that, even though they may be working from home, they're working very, very long and very strong in helping our company.
Daniel Dixon, Group Director of Business Development at AmeriGas Propane and the new chairman of the Propane Education and Research Council. Appreciate you taking the time and joining LP Gas today, Daniel.
Thanks, Brian, and thanks, LP Gas, for everything you do.